Father, you have called Jesus the supreme yogi. Can you unpack what you mean by that? Calling Jesus a yogi.
While doing Paschimottanasana, which by the way, the original name of Paschimottanasana is Brahmacharyasana. Why did I name him my supreme yogi? Because he said, the father, the mother, and I are one. That's yoga. I'll tell you a story of a man 26 years ago sold his American passport for $100 to do drugs. Not everybody becomes an addict. There is a genetic predisposition. You ask anyone who comes to treatment, they are not the first one to be an alcoholic or drug addict. There has been somebody in the family. Sadhana is a pathway to God. Yoga is all about moving from the outer world into the innermost, from the periphery to the center, the sympathetic nervous system to the central nervous. Well, as I kept on pursuing the path of spirituality, along with the path of health, see, for me, spirituality had to be in and through wellness of
1968 was B.K.S. Iyengar. 1971, Mother Teresa almost came into your life. So these are two iconic mentors. They intersect in different ways and they've shaped what Father Joe is today. So how did that all come together, Father? And how you created your own self today? What if I told you the man who's healed thousands of addicts isn't a doctor, but a priest? And his prescription is yoga. Namaskaram and welcome back to Who's on Air. I'm your host Kamlksh Shetty and today's guest is someone truly extraordinary. Father Joe Pereira, also known as the yoga priest, has spent over 4 decades at the intersection of spirituality, recovery, and transformation. He is the founder of Kripa Foundation, India's largest NGO for addiction rehabilitation, and has worked closely with legends like Mother Teresa and B.K.S. Iyengar. From training with monks to treating millionaires, from teaching in prison cells to delivering hope on international stages, Father Joe's journey is nothing short of miraculous. In this episode, we dive deep into how Iyengar Yoga is changing the lives of addicts, there are very few people now. Is just to understand, are there people who are following your path? There are people who have kind of initiated by you.
this work
Hmm.
that I am doing
Hmm.
is a work that does not happen through professionals.
Okay.
It doesn't happen through like doctors and psychiatrists and even by priests and men of religion. It happens only when one human being shares his brokenness and pain with another human being. You see, that is the paradox.
Hmm.
The paradox of healing is not, I have it all and I've given to you. This model died when PL 80, well, the recipient suffers from a lack of dignity, you know. So we told them, stop. And the best way to help is not from your, as Mother Teresa does it, not from your abundance, but from your poverty. So this is a paradox that
Okay.
when mutually shared brokenness and pain empowers the human being, that becomes something which people cannot understand, but only an insider can understand. See, there is a distinct kind of atmosphere of recognizing
Hmm.
what is this ailment.
Hmm.
Medical people have struggled over the years. The Diagnostic Statistic Manual 4 and now 5 finally kind of admitted that it is a disease. But all the time, medical people talk about disorder, psychiatrists talk about rescripting your thinking and all that. It doesn't work. It's the essential characteristic of a human being to recognize that to be a person is to always be in relationship. A person is always having an I thou relationship. And if that is not there, they choose anything else, which will never be fulfilling the thirst for love, for intimacy. So my work through Mother Teresa was to give people a sense that they are precious. They're not junkies. I have over 600 people working in my 21 centers.
Okay.
90% of them are wounded healers. They have gone through the suffering and
They can connect more easily with the rest of them, isn't it?
yeah, they can. There's a sense of understanding is much more.
Father, you have called Jesus the supreme yogi. That's a powerful, even provocative statement. Can you unpack what you mean by that? Calling Jesus a yogi.
As a Catholic priest, when I started practicing yoga with B.K.S. Iyengar, this man was above all kinds of isms. He taught pure, undiluted yoga. And he gave us the opportunity to relate to a higher power of our own understanding. Being a Christian, being a Catholic priest, for me, the higher power was Jesus. And why did I name him my supreme yogi? Because he said, the Father, the Mother, and I are one. That's yoga.
That's the
And
union.
That's, yeah. See, so for me, that was very, very easy because even when I started working with alcoholics and drug addicts, the original co-founder was a Christian.
Okay.
But for 21 years, he did not reveal how he got well. And that was because he thought that then people would think that to get recovery from alcoholism, they would have to believe in one particular type of God. So he waited for 21 years. And just during that time, William James wrote a beautiful book called Varieties of Religious Experience. And 21 years later, Alcoholics Anonymous met together. They called that conference Alcoholic Anonymous Comes of Age. There is where he stood up and he said how he got well. He got well by a flash.
Okay.
Yes, he was a gone case in the town's hospital. He was admitted 4 times in 1930. Dr. Silkworth called his wife and said, I'm discharging him now, but see that he doesn't touch the first drink. Otherwise, he will go either lose his mind or he will die early death, timeless death, which is all the time happening. It's happening every day. And so he got frightened. He knelt on the bed and said, if you're there, manifest yourself to me. And there was a light that filled the room. He didn't sleep. Next morning, when Dr. Silkworth walked in, he told Dr. Silkworth what happened. And Dr. Silkworth made 3 comments. He said, Bill, this is a conversion. Now, what is the etymology of the word conversion? Metanoia, beyond the mind.
Okay.
So, but then he said, I am a scientist. I cannot use such words. But the third thing he said was, whatever has happened, hold on to it. Bill held on to it and went to be the co-founder of the Alcoholics Anonymous. So, they came to realize that, especially after the book of William James, that there are varieties of religious experience. And so they started calling the God as the higher power. So, the experience of a higher power is essential. Even Patanjali says, Prayatna Shaithilya, to do your best, but don't think that you are the one who's doing it. Always Ananta Samapattibhyam, which is you dovetail your effort into the grace of God.
Wow.
This is not communicated to the Westerners. I say Westerners because when yoga went to the West, they only latched on to the beautiful postures of Guruji. And they just stayed there, and that's the tragedy of the whole thing. And Carl Gustav Jung, the famous psychologist, he said the West would never be able to practice yoga. Why? Because if you're coming from a reductionistic background, materialistic background, you stop at Bahiranga, you do a little of Antaranga, which is breath work, but Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi is totally alien to you. So they keep on jumping like animals, like monkeys, and they think that they are doing yoga, but that's not yoga. So that authentic yoga, Iyengar Yoga, is Antaratmic Yoga.
What does that mean?
Antaratma is, there is Bahiranga, outer body, Antaranga, which is the breath, and pranayam and all that. But after that comes dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. But before you go into meditation and dharana, dhyana, there is a very important limb, which is called pratyahara. Now, pratyahara is that when you start listening to your breath, your senses and your mind quieten down. In other words, your left brain stops becoming dominant and you start opening up the right brain, which is come fully into the here and now. And that's a beautiful experience. Herbert Benson of the Harvard Medical School wrote a beautiful article in Lancet, which is a supplement of the British Medical Association. And he said very clearly that yoga and meditation can transform a type A personality into a type B personality. So, we are in this today's world, you can see that people are running after. They are really chasing, and they're getting stressed out, and they don't know why they are. Like a little boy learning to drive and speeding, and his mother says, "Son of boy, do you realize what?" He says, "Does it matter? I'm making great speed." So today the world has become more, fully dominated by a desire, and this desire sometimes can play havoc. And addiction is when you like something, you want to repeat it. And if, God forbid, there are 3 dimensions of getting stuck. People don't realize not everybody becomes an addict. There is a genetic predisposition.
Is it?
Definitely. You ask anyone who comes to treatment that they are not the first one to be an alcoholic or drug addict. There has been somebody in the family. There was a young professor from Massachusetts. She came for treatment because she gave up all treatment there, and she said, and she was an addict. But along with the addiction, she had what is known as bipolar. She had schizophrenia. And I asked the mother, find out who in the family was. She said, no, nobody in the family. I said, just go and research. She comes back to me and says, yes, 3 generations ago, there was an aunt who was exactly like her. So
it can carry through the genes also, the addiction. That's what you're saying.
Yes, but But that doesn't mean that you have to be a victim to that. See, one big thing about human life is that it is not conditioned to the extent that your will is useless. No. Viktor Frankl, the great man who survived the Holocaust, he made a study of addictive personalities. And in Harlem, he got a man who was continuously being arrested for crime. And they realized that he had a criminal gene. So, but interestingly, he also was an identical twin. So they went in search of this identical twin. They found him in the prison. But not what you are thinking. He had done a PhD in criminology and he was the Director General of Police. All my staff are wounded healers. They are wounded by addiction, but they have used that as an asset. Nobody understands an alcoholic and a drug addict as much as a person who has gone through that suffering. Empathy is more important, and empathy is love. See, Mother Teresa taught me one thing, that never condemn anybody. Even the worst sinner can become a saint tomorrow. The tremendous potential in the human being can be brought out, can be drawn out. That is why I like B.K.S. Iyengar.
I'll ask you that question. You started yoga in 1968.
I started yoga after coming from the priesthood studies, 10 years of priesthood studies. And then I was all the time, I was a singer and...
the singing priest.
Singing priest. And when I was to go on to the theatre, I would have cold and cough and all kinds of things. But when I met Guruji and I started going to yoga, I got rid of all those things, And he really put in me the missing point, which was in our training as a priesthood. We have a lot of, as I told you, there is philosophy, theology and all that. But when you come out of that and you see real life, you fall flat on your face. And physically also, I was not keeping well, But once I joined yoga, I realized the spirituality of the body. That all this left brain work, thinking and studying and getting your PhDs and all that is all left brain work. But the right brain tells you how to really deal with life. And Guruji's teaching was that, brought me right down into the here and now. While doing Paschimottanasana, which by the way, the original name of Paschimottanasana is Brahmacharyasana.
Is it? And that goes with the priesthood.
Yes. And Brahmacharyasana is one dwelling in the presence of Brahma, God. So one day he was sitting on my back while I was doing the forward bend, Paschimottanasana. And he jokingly said, "You hear the sins of everybody. I can hear your sins." He was a great man but he respected people who came from different. We had a lot of Parsis in the group. Unfortunately, whenever this science has become one-sided, these other people have felt alienated. But that's a dark side of all good things in life.
So 1968 was B.K.S. Iyengar. 1971, Mother Teresa almost came into your life.
Yeah.
So these are two iconic mentors. They intersect in different ways and they've shaped what Father Joe is today. So how did that all come together, Father? And how you created your own self today?
Well, as I kept on pursuing the path of spirituality, along with the path of health, see, for me, spirituality had to be in and through wellness of my body.
Hmm.
The body is the temple of God. And somehow or the other, I realized that while I called Jesus my Shushumna Nadi, the
Ah,
central Nadi, okay, Iyengar and Mother Teresa are my Ida and Pingala.
thing. That's
And
so nice.
what is the common denominator there? Karuna, compassion. So she taught me to go to the poorest of the poor, and he taught me to go to the poorest of the poor in health. Even today, I have a student, 96-year-old man, a very highly placed official. I can't mention, everybody knows him, 96-year-old man, but learning how to revitalize your calf muscles. His calf muscles have gone out because, aging. And calves are the second heart. So I was teaching him this, and he was quite interested in this. So there is no age barrier for the spirituality of the body.
Hmm.
So Iyengar and Mother Teresa have really helped me to do this. And she used to always say, don't do too many things, but do a few things with love. Guruji said the same thing. Don't do too many things, but do a few things with attention. For him, attention was love. And he showed you how to love your own body back to life, not without pain.
Wow.
For him, pain was essential because in pain, you would be drawn, your attention would be drawn to that area which is suffering. And he would very painfully, he would always say, you create healthy pain to remove pain. So many people have left him.
Is it?
I have been with him for 57 years now. 46 because he died after 46 years of being with him. But I can tell you, so many people have lost. There are some people who are even better than me in class who have come to my class now as cripples.
Why so?
They gave up practicing.
You need to keep the practice going also.
Yeah, you need to maintain, adherence. There are two ailments in India which, because of lack of adherence, they become drug resistant: malaria and tuberculosis. If you don't practice yoga regularly, not just twice a week, but I practice it every day.
The day
So-
starts with it.
You have to be adherent. And because, even if you miss out, I was for 2 months abroad and I could not really give that same work that I do because I was teaching 7 hours in China, 7 hours a day. But when I came back after 2 months, I could make out that my body had
Taken the
was
beating.
suffering. Yes. So I'm working every day to make it up. It's a spirituality, it's a sadhana. Sadhana is a pathway to God. So basically, yoga is all about moving from the outer world into the innermost world, from the periphery to the center, the sympathetic nervous system to the central nervous system, via the autonomic action of the breath. The breath is very important.
Watching the breath is the most common thing nowadays, people say, but then there has to be discipline to it. There has to be a method from people like you who have learned it the right way, right? And that's what you put in your everyday practice. From Kripa Foundation, we started in a small place in Mumbai in 1980.
81.
81.
81.
And it has grown into something so beautiful. And thanks to you, Father, you've touched so many lives today. And that was in Mount Carmel, right? That's when you started it. Today, it has almost 65 centers across the country, treating.
But 21 centers where we are functioning with residential people. So some residential places have got over 50 to 60 inpatients.
Wow.
And the day begins with yoga. 1 hour of yoga, followed by 20 minutes of meditation,
Mhm.
and then 10 minutes of thought for the day.
So you're treating addictions, even HIV patients, even hosting your retreats. What kept you going through the challenges of scaling up? There's so many throughout the world you are there. You have been a Padma Shri also. Tell me a little more about, let's begin with the addiction journey which you started. I mean, how you kind of started treating.
Okay, very providentially, when I was first appointed at Mahim,
Hmm.
the place in Bombay, um, I was pleasantly surprised to know that the man who brought the self help program of AA to India
Hmm.
was Harry Matthias, who was a place from that, who was a man from that parish. And they used to meet there. So I used to, right up from the first year of my priesthood, I could see people coming there. Some of them used to come drunk. And then naturally they would come and sit with me and I would try to counsel them. So that my love for these kind of people, rejects of society, nobody wanted them. That really moved me into this field. And then I realized that the unidimensional treatment doesn't work. Just
Hmm.
the doctors giving medicine. Because, there is no chemical solution or chemical dependency. Addiction is called chemically dependent people.
Okay.
So, but you give a substitute drug, doesn't work. You have to, it's a holistic approach that alone can bring people out of this. It's a terrible disease. It's not something which doctors and psychiatrists and men of religion can understand. It is a human condition which is totally misunderstood. So, therefore, when we treat these people, we don't treat them as only afflicted people. We include those who are affected
Hmm.
and we make them insiders.
Okay.
Because, yeah, because very often people have gone back home
Hmm.
and the loved ones having no idea of what are the tenets, what are the benchmarks of recovery, they just get fooled
Hmm.
and they give them a drink, and that's the end of the story. The first drink does the damage. So, in addiction, you have to, it's not only a medical problem, it is not a mental, though a lot of people who drink alcohol get into schizophrenia and bipolar. There's a huge number of youngsters who are into cannabis. And this is one thing I want to tell the whole world, starting with Canada and India and all over, all metros. There is a tremendous rise of misuse of cannabis.
They show it as a wonder drug also. They try to tell you that it is helping in medicine, and that's how they
Yeah, you see, but the medication drug
Hmm.
is in Toronto, Vancouver.
Hmm.
I asked my boys who were in recovery.
Hmm.
I said, "Say, Justin Trudeau has made it, the Prime Minister then
Hmm.
has made it, legal." They said, who takes this? Yeah, we get our stuff from Nala Sopara,
Is it?
you know. Uh, and today, tragically, this is being adulterated with all kinds of things. So I feel that the whole world has become so self gratification oriented
Hmm.
that whatever pleases me, I go for it.
Hmm.
And that is what is making youngsters. Do you know how high a percentage of students who are going for post graduation victims of addiction? I don't want to mention universities, but you mention any universities, and you will find there a certain percentage of youngsters who are victims of cannabis. And now, the most important thing about these students is that they rope them in by giving them a free use. A cigarette goes round, a loaded cigarette goes round. The next thing is you wanted more. And there is also another, I would say, a little gateway to addiction, that today rev parties and all these parties which we have on weekends, they are loaded with, formerly it used to be only alcohol, but today they are loaded with this cannabis. And there is a big number of girls in metros that are falling victims to it. And so my effort of recent times is to build up a community of recovering ladies. There is an international group also. There are lots of groups now that are making people aware that they have to do something about this, because the biggest problem is affluence. Today we have got so much of money that parents and guardians are only giving material goods to the children, and they are all the time absent. So very often, sometimes when I bring them together, the child says to the mother and father, "Where have you all been?"
So only the money is coming, but no
Only the money.
attention.
And lakhs of rupees, and they are, and that is what is the cause of a life of self-gratification. I want what I want and I must have it right now. Freud said this to be the main characteristic of an addict, and he called it the king baby syndrome.
King baby.
King baby syndrome.
Okay.
And today, all our children have become king babies. If they don't have what they want, they kick up a shindig, a ragam. So it's very important that we bring in some discipline. That's where yoga comes in. It's not just a physical thing, but it brings you into the here and now and helps you to cut off all kinds of, it develops what I call pratyahara, disposition of dispossession. See, people go to counseling, people go to psychiatrists, people go to doctors. All this is left brain. Till it comes into your pinda, as they say, cells. That is why the famous saying, yatha pinde tatha brahmande,
Very
as
nice.
it is for you in your cellular consciousness. Iyengar gave that to me. And he gave that to me in 2006 when he second time came to Kripa and said that this is a very special work that Joe has done and it should grow into a gigantic tree. So, it's necessary that you bring people to the original wellness of the body, because the body is the temple of God.
So you go beyond physical therapy to heal addicts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Though there are three dimensions of Bahiranga, Antaranga, and Antaratma, the Harvard Medical School has got a similar formula. The first formula is Restedness. He came. Vincent came all the way to India. At that time, there was these, all politically supported yogis are all fake. They all ran away. And then they told him to go to Dharmasala. So he went to Dharmasala and learned the first lesson of stress, to overcome stress. And he called it relaxation response.
Okay.
As a Catholic priest, I tell my yoga students all over the world, my supreme yogi said the same thing. He said, "Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened, and I will give you rest." So restedness is the first component of healing. Then what happens is that you begin to see that deep down, like in Zen, you are well. And that is called, by scientists today, remembered wellness. And then they go to the third stage, that because you feel that you are well, and you are blessed, and you are good, you come to the third stage of saying that all shall be well. And the mantra that we use for that is the one of Julian of Norwich. She was a lady mystic, and she said, all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well. And today the scientists are calling that the faith factor. Even more, the scientists today are saying that our bodies are wired to God. Second generation meditator. I don't want to drop names, but she's a famous lady who has written a book, Blissful Brain. Her mother was a country coordinator during the years that I was the country coordinator in India. And she's a neurologist, and she studied the workings of the brain and wrote this beautiful book calling it Blissful Brain. But thousands of years ago, Patanjali called the most subtle sheath Anandamaya Kosha.
Anandamaya Kosha.
So, it's wonderful, really. If you go beyond all these isms, pure, undiluted spirituality is best practiced and experienced in the body.
I'm so glad, so Father, like coming from you makes so much of sense. And the beauty of yoga is you take it in the spiritual sense. What I have heard also, we are made of 5 elements, and all the elements are within you, and even nature is there. So when people expect to put some other substance into them, that's already in your body. Probably yoga creates, I mean, that's as you said, there are cannabis receptors in our brain automatically. And that's what the new science is also telling us, that, if you do the right yoga, it automatically that starts creating within you. What do you have to say about that?
All that you have said is practiced in Surya Namaskar.
So that
Surya Namaskar are a combination of Adhomukha Shvana and Urdhvamukha Shvana. Downward looking dog and upward looking dog. And when you're in the downward looking dog, Prithvi, Aap, Tej, Vayu, Akash, the 5 elements have to be felt in your practice. Otherwise, you're just jumping around. But when you do this, you can realize that the high that you get is even better than the most powerful drug.
Yes.
Because today science is saying that what is that final experience? They call it the NO experience, nitric oxide experience. And that nitric oxide experience is all about the brain getting full of joy, And it's a bliss. She calls it a
State.
blissful brain. So when I work with them, with people who have see, there are a lot of people who go through depression. And today in the world, there is so much of depression because you have everything and yet nothing. So to find meaning in your life, when you start using these methodologies, you begin to love yourself. And my Supreme Yogi said, love your neighbor as yourself. So love yourself is important. And when you go into this, all kinds of negative feeling just go away, automatically go away. Because this is a spirituality that brings you into the here and now. You are not your body. I am not my body. I am not my breath. I am not my possessions. I am not my attachments. I am not my ailment. And I am not my addiction. I am who I am. So aham tattvam asi.
Wow.
So this is the beautiful script of Iyengar Yoga.
And you learned, I mean, today you can put each and every word which B.K.S. Iyengar has put. He's left kind of a small seed in which you have grown and made it so beautiful and teaching so many people. What is a usual day at Kripa looks like? I mean, what is it like? How is the process for people? I don't want to understand, but the treatment, you use different methods, yoga being the primary one.
I don't normally I don't encourage people to go into in-house treatment. I tell them, even if you go into in-house treatment, you have to one day come out of it and face the world. So, what have you to do in that world? You can start doing now. And if you don't do it now the right way, then maybe you can go for a in-house treatment. Because the in-house treatment has only one characteristic, that is protected environment. But that's not everything. So when you come out, you have to maintain the principles that one day at a time. And the first principle is that I am. It's when we were using, we always said, I am not. Now we don't use and we say, I am. Second thing is that if I am an alcoholic or a drug addict, I cannot do this by myself. I need to have the help. And the help is in two forms. One is another recovering addict or alcoholic and a group of people. Because in the group of people, there is one thing that happens. Ultimately, we become well only because of the higher power. But 99% of us who are in addiction, we are atheists, we are agnostics. So, Carl Gustav Jung said, you can be together because when you are together, there is a collective consciousness. And that collective consciousness is God. My Supreme Yogi said, where two or three are gathered, I am there. So this is the power of the fellowship. And with these two benchmarks, that I am and that I need help of an individual sponsor and a group, then the third benchmark is I must be careful about my time management. So time management is very important. And the last but not the least is my contact with God. And that I encourage to become more yogic, because the authentic contact with God is only through the body. The body for me is the only way I can, of course, the presence of God, the Chandogya Upanishad, you talk about God's presence in the universe, but it also speaks about the presence within
yourself.
And that's in the heart. And it's said to be of the form of a lotus. So, once you get in touch with the presence and you live in that presence, nothing is going to happen to you.
You have helped people from Air Force pilots to industrialists, some with almost who've been 19 years, who have been sober for so many years. Can you share one story, like which you feel, which still brings some tears in your eyes, somebody who helped and you said this is something.
And I can tell you a story of a young man. Then he was a son of an alcoholic, and he beat up his mother. And I put them together, and I asked him to tell his mother, when did he start hating his mother? He was already an active alcoholic and a womanizer. And so he said to his mother, when I was young, when you dumped me in a boarding school. So she said, your father was an alcoholic. He used to beat us up. So we put you in the best boarding school then, North Point, Darjeeling. He broke down. He didn't realize that his father had also the same ailment. He got well. Today, he runs a huge business and has helped so many people. And it's amazing. On his 70th birthday, which he celebrated in a bar, I was walking around and I was asking people, the boss never drinks. He's sober for 38 years. You know, what I'm saying is that this program, it has mended families. He just visited me the other day and he told me, he said, if I had not received this program, I would have been on the streets from nothing.
So how do these people reach out to you? What happens generally?
They come in different states. Some come when they have really lost everything.
Okay.
But some come when they have everything and yet they are, suffering from this disease. Now, the biggest people who have got wealth, they feel that they can buy doctors and hospitalizations and all. It doesn't work that way at all. So, very poignant kind of stories are of those who once upon a time were very well-to-do. The entire gharana, I don't know, there are some gharanas here in India. 3 generations, all top-ranking people from the 3 generations have died of alcohol. The 4th generation man walks in and learns the program. And he has reversed history. And it's a very big gharana. It's very well known to everybody. So it is possible. But wealth sometimes is the biggest obstacle because you have everything and you think you can.
Can buy everything. You have the ego to do all the odd things and the bad things.
So it's a very touching story because after a broken marriage, getting married again and having a beautiful daughter, and then it's just something so unique. And then his gharana look at this whole phenomenon and say, how did you make it? Your grandfather, your father, your grandfather, your great grandfather all went the same way, and you have not gone that way.
Father, you face criticism for being a yoga teacher and being from the Christian faith.
Yeah, because teaching yoga as a spirituality of the body always excludes all kinds of dogmas and all that. So I'm not a dogma man, but I really value elements of truth in all religions. Okay, and for me, one day when I was doing a program with today, you know that there is one association which was known as the Oxford Group
Okay.
that tried to help the alcoholics but basically failed. However, 6 of the Oxford Group steps have been integrated in the 12-step program.
Okay.
The man who started that was an Episcopalian pastor, Frank Bookman.
Okay.
That Oxford Group became Moral Rearmament Group. And today it is called Initiatives of Change. Rajmohan Gandhi, the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, we were doing a program together, and the commentator saw my column. He said, you're a Roman Catholic priest. I said, no, I'm a Hindu Catholic priest. Hindutva is a Sanskriti, is a way of life. Sanatan Dharma is Hinduism. That's all right. But we are first Indians. So whenever I talk like this, it upsets
A lot of people.
because they don't understand that authentic spirituality is all embracing. You should not make any compartments over this. And so no problem at all when I have some very good, even, the heads of the Hare Krishna people and all that. He's an American, but he speaks Sanskrit fluently. Yeah. Radhanath Swami. We do programs together. I mean, it's so beautiful to have interfaith combination together, so people don't think that we have to only follow one particular path. All paths lead to God.
That's what I think people need to realize now and come to a common ground to help people the way you are and probably lead the way. You have led the way, and they should also, like your Kripa Foundation, the people who are there, as you said, the people who are supporting are the ones who already have been through this phase of life.
Wounded healer
Hmm.
is the characteristic of Kripa recovery program. Those who come into this program recognize that they are wounded, they are human,
Hmm.
and through that brokenness, they are able to help others. In Minnesota, when this model was made known to the hospitals, they claimed this model and called it a Minnesota model, the 12-step program. And many of our hospitals are opening up to this. But sadly, we need much more support from the medical fraternity and from also enlightened presence of men of religion, because they make it all a moral issue. It's not a moral issue.
I like that word when you say it's not a moral issue. You also say it's a disease. So I
Yeah,
like the way you're putting it.
because they are not mad and they are not bad, but they are sick. So you have to understand that sickness, which is a no fault sickness. When people relapse, sometimes they come to me and they say, "Father, sorry, I've drunk again." I said, "Do you realize one thing? This sickness is no fault, but you have to be faithful to the principles of maintenance. Principles of maintenance are simple but difficult, and humility. Most of our people who are not humble, they fall. Ultimately, is
How do they bring in the humility in themselves?
recognition of your own being, not God. See, there is a history of the Alcoholics Anonymous written by a man called Ernie Kurtz. What has he titled that book? Not God.
Okay.
When an alcoholic realizes, because they are all the time playing God, once he realizes that I'm not God, that there is a higher power and I can only handle my Achilles heel. See, my Achilles heel is different from another person's Achilles heel. But in the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, there is one common Achilles heel, and that is the first drink does the damage.
Through my journey in life, at least I know a dozen of people who have lost their life drinking. I know at the present moment there are people who are probably bedridden, who become vegetables by the habit. So if somebody in their house finds a case like this, what should they do?
Anyone who recognizes that there is alcohol that is a cause of this person's getting sick or bedridden or whatever, the first thing that person should do is to connect with a recovered person. And in the vicinity, you have a lot of recovered people. Then, if they cannot really handle it by themselves, see, because there are 3 stages. The first stage is the body. You have to detoxify. Of course, I'm doing also a research where we can learn to detoxify with yogasanas and not necessarily be on medications. But that's detoxification is where the doctors and nurses and all are required. Then second thing is mental ailment. You get this bipolar and schizophrenia and all that. So for that, you have to be careful that you don't become over dependent on the drug. So, because a lot of doctors don't allow their clients to stop or to slow down their medication unless your schizophrenia is endogenic, that means hereditary. Only then you have to be careful, can't stop drugs immediately. And and the last thing is some kind of admission that there is a God. We always say there is a God, but that's not you. You have to acknowledge that there is a higher power.
You're building this up into a huge movement, and I can hear something about Goa. Would you like to talk about it?
Yes, I chose Goa
Mm.
because first and foremost, I've got 21 centers all over the
Mm.
country. But Goa, I have a very special place where I visualized
Mm.
that people were coming every year to learn yoga, and I was going to almost covering up 40 countries. Now, in my 80s, I decided that they should come here. But Goa also has been a land of spirituality.
Mm.
Shanta Durga, Mangeshi,
Mm.
and the body of Saint Francis Xavier.
Mm.
But today it has become a land of drugs.
That's why
Truth?
you chose the place?
No, not only because of that. I realized that I can turn this place back into a place of faith and a place of, spirituality. Though it has become a place of addiction, I'll tell you a story of a man who 26 years ago
Mm.
sold his American passport for $100 to do drugs. Okay? He has come in 2024 to work with me with a recovery of 25 years.
Mm.
Now, along with him, we have a whole lot of groups, about 500 plus groups in Goa of Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. And that is the new Goa that's going to bring back the image of being a land of spirituality, but through the recovery program. Because it's a spiritual program. And there's no other solution, because if you see there what's going on there,
Mm.
it's a very sad situation. Young people are going on the rev parties and all that are horrible, but we can change this whole thing. We can bring it down. We can make it. We can make it happen. But you need a lot of willingness from the society, and I am getting that willingness.
Mhm.
People are now becoming more aware that that I am responsible. I am I am my brother's keeper. It's very important that you know that.
So, yeah, Father, 44 years of Kripa Foundation, the highs and lows, the tough times which you kind of went through to build up the foundation.
This foundation has, as I always say, was not started by me, but by a saint, Mother Teresa. And she saw that her nuns were not able to cope with addicts. So she asked me to teach the nuns this program. And then she built a center for addiction in Tengra in Calcutta.
Okay.
She gave me also her own center, Boys Town.
Mm.
See, this whole program has a characteristic of stigma and discrimination.
Mm.
And Mother was the lady who wanted to get rid of that. So we really took her challenge, and we used to, per year, we have been getting about 200 people, street addicts,
Mm.
from the, there was a British lady who came down and saw our work in Dharavi, second largest slum.
Mm.
And we have some beautiful recoveries there. So she was so touched that she produced a movie. It's available. It's the name of the movie is The Circle.
Okay.
And there you can see street children who got this program
Mm.
now are doing the same work of bringing other street children back into this.
Isn't that very difficult? Because I remember whenever I used to travel by train, the tracks would be full of addicts. Isn't it difficult to rehab these people? I mean, compared to other people from different strata of society.
See, if you have the right means
Mm.
to address the issue, it is not difficult. But the problem is that Professionals mess it up.
When
I
you say
was
professionals, means the so-called big
doctors,
doctors.
doctors, psychiatrists, and even men of religion.
Hmm.
See, unidimensional has failed, but they don't realize that. So till today, there are people who are giving, like for instance, mala pano and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Come to this place, it is a you'll get. That's not the see. So you have to be very clinical and you have to be scientific, basically. So in the slums, uh, children, you'll see in the movie, these children are so impressionable. They are so gullible, and when they saw that love, they when they saw that we were understanding their pain, they came over. They then again, yoga made a big difference
Hmm.
because teaching them yoga in the slums was giving them a whole new, occupation.
How do they take it when you teach them practices?
See, there are different styles of approaching different groups. So, for the street children, and especially for children, you have to uh, keep them in some action. But after doing the action, you have to bring them to meditation.
Hmm.
And they were very good when they meditated. They really sat as they've never sat before. So, what yoga does is transforms a personality from feeling unloved
Hmm.
to feeling loved.
Hmm.
Ultimately, it's love.
Hmm.
The speciality of Iyengar,
Hmm.
helping humanity, helping a human being to love his body back to life. The body is a temple and we have desecrated it.
Hmm.
Drug abuse is the worst way to desecrate the body. But when you learn to reclaim the Weisheit, the original wisdom
Hmm.
within the body, you begin to see that all this was hidden from you. Now, now you know there's a whole pathway, yoga sadhana. It's a
Hmm.
pathway to God. And it makes a whole lot of difference because your everyday life changes.
Wow. Father, we as a society, how do you think we can help people who are in need, who have to look for rehabilitation?
I want to tell society at large that be concerned. You are your brother's keeper. Today, people are not concerned because in buildings,
Hmm.
there are groups of youngsters sitting down and doing drugs. Parents pass by. They know that
And they're okay with it.
they are tolerating these kind of people, not tolerating, but doing nothing, you know. And it's a, there has to be a wake up call for society at large that I am responsible for my children and for my loved ones. And when they are struggling to really, uh, you know,
Hmm.
50% of these children
Hmm.
have major problems because their parents are not together.
Hmm.
Even if they are together,
Hmm.
they're not maintaining love. So it's a big problem of self gratification. Everyone is doing what pleases him
Hmm.
and her. So, my recommendation is really be concerned about the other and start it in your own home. Learn to really accept being human. Don't pose as I am okay and you are not okay.
Hmm.
I am not okay. You two are not okay, but that's okay. And we make a kind of a platform where we can be constantly open to growth. Today, we are not growing in every aspect. Today, there is stagnancy. And I'm sorry to say that religious fundamentalism is the worst to make this stagnancy grow. It is sickening. And so therefore what happens is that our society is becoming atmatrupti society, self gratification society. The more the better. And I think there has to be some kind of wisdom dawning on people that wealth is not everything. Health is wealth. And after giving your children the best, if they go into drug abuse and all that, you've lost your wealth and you've lost life. And there are people dying today. There are people losing their minds. My message to the whole metro, all metros are afflicted so badly. My message to them is, please stop any kind of weekend parties where you cannot have any kind of celebration without mind-altering substances. It's difficult today to bring that about. Is very difficult.
It's very difficult. How can you stop? There are we have states in India where alcohol is not there, but still the highest drinking rates are there. So people find ways to drink. So
see, we are not talking about temperance. We are talking about alcohol is a beverage. It's food, but one man's food can become another person's poison. So if you're aware that there are some people who cannot handle, when they come into the parties, you cannot encourage them to go into this kind of drinking. See, there are three types of drinking: the social drinking, the problem drinking, binging, and compulsive drinking.
That's the danger point, the third one.
Yeah, but how does it happen? The first, social drinking, there's no problem. When people start drinking problematically, out of 10 people who drink problematically, 9 people can go back to social drinking because they don't have the genetic predisposition. But those who have the genetic predisposition go into compulsive use. And then you have to abstain from the first drink, which is difficult. So you can do something when you know that there is. So many parents have told me, I've told my children that dad, aunt, uncles are all alcoholic. They're died alcoholics. So be careful. No, I won't drink like them. But ultimately you go and drink like them. It's a progressive ailment. So my thing is that know that there is a flood of self-gratification in the culture today of the modern culture, and therefore definitely bring in some kind of self-denial, some kind of atmatyag. That's my message. And if you don't have that through discipline, then life will bring it to you anyway. Because if you don't stop in time or you don't do something about your addiction, you will either lose your mind or you die a premature death.
I'll take that as the last closing word from you. One thing which you would like to tell today's youth about the trouble and the pain of getting into any kind of addiction.
I wish to tell the young people that life is beautiful. But don't ever think that by self-gratification you can enjoy life. The most enjoyable life is when you deny yourself and seek higher experiences, not only of God, but excellence in human living, So let's reverse this very clear pattern today in the world. The more the better, self-gratification. Reverse it, that I can be content with what God has given me and share it with those who don't have it. If you have that mind, that compassionate mind, your life will be beautiful.
Father, you are a crusader for our times, and we want you to keep doing this in such an. We are here to support. Hope your voice reaches many more people, and let this be a movement of well-being for the nation. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
That was Father Joe Pereira, a man who has taught us that recovery isn't just about getting clean, it's about becoming a whole. From Bandra's by-lanes to global stages, he has shown that compassion, yoga, and inner silence can heal even the most shattered lives. In this episode, if this episode moved you or reminded you of someone who's struggling, share it. Forward. You never know. Share it and someone who's share it, forward it. If this episode moved you or reminded you of someone who's struggling, share it and forward it. You never know who might need to hear Father Joe's voice of hope. Then don't forget to check out the Kripa Foundation and the powerful work they're doing across India and beyond. The links are in the description. I'm Kamlksh Shetty, and this is Who's on Air, where powerful stories meet powerful souls. Until next time, breathe deep, live true, and remember, healing is always possible.